Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Dave Mellon with Valor Fire Training, coming to you live from Kansas. And I am joined with Eric Hilly and Greg Zimmerman, who are actually in Ukraine right now on a rescue mission with Joint Guardian. So bear with us. Obviously internet connections are different from place to place. In order to get this accomplished, especially there, in order to get this accomplished, I actually am on duty, and so my deputy chief was gracious enough to allow me to jump off the rig for a second to be able to do this. He's totally behind the mission, and once I kind of explained what was going on, he was totally cool with it. So we're here in the Bay, ready to go. So first and foremost, how are you guys doing? How long have you been there, and what's the latest?
Well, we're all just tired. For the first week here, we were in Poland, waiting for equipment and all that to arrive, and now we've been in country. This is, I believe, day 4 or 5. 5. Day 5 in country.
Okay. And so you guys started in Poland, then you guys made it across the border, and you guys had connections already pre-established, right? Like before you guys went over there, you guys already had kind of a plan of who you were going to meet up with and where they were going to take you, correct?
Yes. So on our team, we actually have quite an extensive background of people on our team. So one of our team members' family owns a logistics company here in Ukraine, which they provided 2 vehicles for us, a cargo truck and a Sprinter van. And then another one of our team members is all with Ukrainian descent, was direct friends with the regional fire chiefs. So we made all the arrangements to the Secretary of Emergency Services and the Secretary of Fire and Services to allow us to come into the country. Once we crossed into Poland, they literally Code 3 escorted us all the way into to the key region where we're at now.
Right.
Well, yeah. Without those connections, I don't think there's any way we would have gotten in any short amount of time, quicker than we did.
Yeah, and that's so. Like when we did the one, Eric, that you weren't able to make, the talk then, what we were discussing, I mean, it's just mind blowing. The fact that you guys jumped on a plane, flew over to Poland, jumped across the border. I mean, logistically, it was a ton of stuff that needed to happen, and everything just kind of came together, which is super, super cool. So I know when we talked before, you guys said that you were bringing a lot of equipment with you. So did all the equipment make it there safe and sound?
So the equipment arrives in, I think, tomorrow or the day after. There was a hiccup due to here in European countries and Ukraine, Easter is a major holiday, so they literally shut everything down for like 4 days. We got contacted today from the Secretary of Emergency Services. Our cargo is en route. 17 pallets of donated technical rescue equipment, extrication equipment, and medical supplies will be delivered to where we're staying at in the next day or 2.
Dude, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I've been following, for those of you that are watching and those that are going to watch the recorded version, if you go to Project Joint Guardian, I've been watching your guys' Facebook page. I've been looking at the article that was just in the New York Times. There was some amazing stories of what you guys have been doing. So obviously, we can't go into details of like places and things like that, but can you guys just kind of give an overview of what you've already been able to do and accomplish since you've been there?
Yeah. So one of the first missions we ran, we were in a area that was under heavy Russian control. Multiple I would say mid-rise to high-rise buildings that had major collapses and still partially standing. There we assisted with searching the buildings for victims and clearing them. During that time we were there, at that same site, 3 bodies were recovered that day from the rubble. Second day of the mission and third days, we were pretty much looking at individual residential homes that were bombed and shelled in neighborhoods. Because over here, the Ukrainian Emergency Services, they're spread thin. There is no mutual aid for them. So they're focusing on areas of high casualties, the major apartment buildings, high-rise buildings, where a lot of these smaller single-family, 2-story, single-family residential homes that got hit, or small apartment complexes, are not getting the rescuers to go in and provide searching for. So that's where we come in. Easter Sunday alone, we recovered, well, recovered one full body, and then the other one we were able to identify the person was in there because the house was so badly burned and burnt for days that we were able to at least find the watch that they knew that their father wore, and he never took it off.
Okay.
So that's all we were able to hand the family after sifting through the rubble to give them closure.
And that's, I mean, it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, I mean, the fact that you guys were able to do that for them, you know, it's obviously not the outcome that anybody wants. I mean, you know, we all go into that type of situation hoping that it's going to be a rescue, not a recovery. But, you know, just reading some of the articles and seeing your guys' post, to be able to bring closure to the family, especially on Easter, you know, that's definitely something. So with you guys being over there, are you guys embedded with a department specifically, or are you guys just going around to each area as they're requesting your help?
We have two liaisons from the Ukrainian Fire Service assigned to us. They're the ones getting us our assignments, and we take all direction from them. And they've gotten us some pretty good assignments, and we've done a lot of good work. And it's just there's so when you come here and see the devastation and destruction on a large scale that we're seeing, you know, there's people see hurricanes, and I guess the only thing we count to this would be a tornado, where it just literally destroys everything in its path. And that's pretty much what we're dealing with here. And then on top of that, we have to deal with all the UXOs and exploded ordnance that's around us. One of the houses we were working out, it was identified that the house right next to us, there was a landmine that was intentionally planted for, again, when first responders start coming in to injure us. We were at a fire station that was under Russian control and used as a command and control and sniper location. When they took the area back to Ukraine military, the fire department went in, the whole station was booby trapped with tripwires and landmines. And again, they had to go in and clear all that. And that's what we're dealing with here. The area we were in yesterday, while we were working, the EOD teams were pulling out landmines, hand grenades, mortar rounds, RPG rounds that haven't been fired, pulling all that out in the vicinities that we're working.
That's insane. And a lot of this stuff is things that we're not, you know, obviously we're not seeing it on CNN and Fox. They're not talking about that. I mean, we're starting to hear reports, give and take a little bit, of, you know, people as towns are being taken back over under Ukrainian control. We're hearing about some booby traps, but I heard nothing about the fire stations or the emergency services. So is that including, and I don't know if you guys know the answer to this, but does that include like hospitals and field hospitals as well?
Anything that the Ukrainian military takes back, they're booby trapping everything. They're putting mines under bodies, under debris. One of the chiefs that we report to showed us pictures and videos of one of their fire engines that ran over a landmine and critically injured the crew on it. And that's what they're having to deal with, and that's what we're having to deal with while we're here too.
Yeah, that's well, and I know Greg and I had discussed in the last one about, you know, kind of the concern about security and safety, and I'm glad that you guys are all okay right now, and we really honestly hope that you guys, you know, stay safe. I know that you can't be any more safe than we can in what we're doing. You know, you're not going to stop what you're doing necessarily because of that, but what has been, like, to this point right now, what has been the biggest hurdle that you guys have had to deal with?
I think the biggest hurdle for us is we want to get more work. But again, this is a war zone. So everything, all direction, although the fire department's willing to let us do pretty much what we want, where we want to go, this is a war zone. So if the Ministry of Military Affairs says no, the answer is no, we don't get to go do it.
I mean, I think some of the other guys on the team with more combat experience knew this part, but I didn't expect this much paperwork to be needed in a war zone. I kind of assumed, and you know, I didn't have the experience, I didn't know, but I just kind of thought we were going to be a little bit more jump off the plane, boots on the ground, we're going to be running in, right? And it was a little frustrating at first, but this is what it is. And you know, just like we do, that, you know, any firefighter it sees people in trouble, they want to help, like we talked last time. And so it's really frustrating to be sitting in Poland while we're waiting for paperwork to clear, and you're seeing the stories over here. And so it was, we were all ready to get here. And so when we were finally able to get to work, we were pretty happy.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we got a couple comments coming in, by the way, for those watching live. You can ask questions in either Facebook or YouTube. And I believe you can also do it in LinkedIn, which we're streaming to as well. And we'll be able to see those. I'm going to put them up. So Christopher Moore said, hello, brother David. Lauren says hi to Clint. You guys got a Clint with you?
He's still in Poland at this time.
Okay. So she said hi to him. Devin Curtis said Greg. Let's see. Maria says, thank you for all you do. Nathan, give us the thumbs up and the claps. And Colton said, hey, Greg. Greg, you're popular, man.
I don't know why.
So when we're talking about before you guys left, one of the things that we had discussed was the difference in their tactics versus your tactics in rescue and fire suppression, and even like medical care, stuff like that. There might be some differences. Have you guys noticed a lot of that? I mean, is there a feeling, because all the pictures that I've seen, you guys are right next to them. So are they jumping on board with you, or are you guys looking at them like, what are you doing? Is there a lot of that?
Well, when it comes to the technical rescue side, that's pretty much what we're dealing with is the USAR stuff. There's a major difference. I'll take example, one of the locations we were working on. Me as the task force leader, then the two team leaders, we did a walk around, we did an assessment, we started assessing where we're going to cut, what we can cut, where they just sort of jump in, start cutting. So we actually gave them a training lesson on why we are slow and methodical, why we're doing what we do, and that you may cut this beam or this, but you have to now think of what the counter action is when you cut that. So that's been the toughest thing to deal with. And then the next biggest issue has been language barrier. Luckily, 3 people on our team do speak Ukrainian, so they're able to translate and speak with us. But the biggest hurdle has been they just get in and start cutting and doing whatever without really assessing what they're doing and what the counteraction is going to be. Because like we try to explain to them, in a collapse, every one thing you move affects multiple other things on top of it. So you got to be real methodical on what you do and think about that instead of just getting up there and cutting. And a great example is we had a unreinforced masonry wall that was leaning, and we ended up getting one of their firefighters standing up on top of it, and we're yelling at him to get the hell down.
Yeah.
It was already leaning. He just jumps up on it. We're like, no, you got to get down. That's no.
I'm like 99% sure that if you start screaming and cussing in any language, that it's like a universal, they can get the idea. Like
we've learned that it is universal. Yep. We've learned
both directions.
Both directions.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So, and we'll get back to the actual, technical side of everything that you guys are doing. As far as the downtime, have you guys been able to come back and decompress, and hang out like at the hotel? Is it different when you guys are in the hotel with security and things like that versus when you're out in the field? Or do you feel like it's just constantly work?
Today was our first decompress day. We had a down day. So as a team, we all actually loaded up and went into Kyiv and explored the city, had lunch in the city, and we've been sitting in the hotel just sort of relaxing. And then when we get back after missions, we all sit around and talk downstairs in the dining room.
Good. Yeah, I know when Greg sent me a message, your guys' time, it was like 9 a.m., but for me, it was like 1:30 in the morning or something like that. And I woke up and I was on shift at my career department, my full-time job. And I was like, oh, that's Greg. Hold on a second. I'm like texting him back and forth. And he's like, yeah, we're just getting up. We're starting our day. I'm like, bro, I was sleeping. But
yeah,
I mean, that's the time difference.
Too. Yeah. I was really surprised I got that quick of a reply. I just figured you were back from a call just recently or something.
No. And so, you know, one of the things that we talked about, and I actually had this conversation with my wife, that when you guys headed over there, I specifically, in the messaging that we're doing back and forth, I specifically set up the most annoying ringtone specifically for you guys, so that anytime you send me a message, I'm going to wake up, because I knew that there was going to be such a time difference. I didn't want to miss a text at 1 o'clock my time, which is obviously the starting of your day. So
You should have told me that, because now I'm going to be telling you, different odd things just throughout the day, just to get that tone going off. So
you can send them. I can't guarantee you what kind of response you're going to get back, but
For humor, I hope that ringtone is that sound from Dumb and Dumber, the most annoying sound in the world.
No, actually, it's Stewie. It goes, mama, mama, mom, 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 mommy. But so, okay, we got to get serious. This is a serious conversation. So with the stuff that you guys have been doing without the equipment that you shipped over there, the equipment, I'm assuming, is all coming from them. So do you feel like you have the resources that you need, or have you guys been, I mean, there's no Home Depot for you guys to run over to and get, lumber and nails and stuff like that. So where are you guys finding all the resources?
we did get lucky enough that we did bring all of the hydraulic extrication equipment that was donated for use, and then to train the Ukrainian firefighters and give to them. That actually came over in carry-on luggage.
Okay.
So all of the hydraulic tools and the power units and all that were actually here with us right away. And so there was one Facebook post where we donated half of it to one fire department, and half of it will go to another one. And in the next few days, we're going to go and train them on the use. There's enough wrecked cars here right now that we've got a lot of training items to use, and so we're gonna run them through the paces and show them. Well, these other guys with a lot more experience than me are going to be showing a lot of tips and tricks on how to use this stuff very effectively.
And when it comes to equipment, prior to leaving Poland, since we had all the money donated, again, is for Ukraine firefighters, we spent $4,000 at their version of Home Depot and bought rotary hammers, demolition hammers. We bought a wide variety of tools that we've been using a lot of. So if we had to breach through concrete, we had the abilities to do it. I will have to admit, I wish the prices of equipment and tools was like it here was in the United States. As $4,000 US dollars goes a long way here at buying some pretty nice tools. We also purchased 2 portable generators, one of which we ended up, one of our team members got a message from a family that they were in Bucha. They had no power, no food, and clothes. So we ended up loading up a pallet with that generator and food and clothes and had it shipped to their house.
Wow. And how far is that? I mean, is that like a trek, or is it just down the road?
It's in the region that we've been working in.
Okay. So, I mean, it's within a couple hours or an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
So when you talk about tools and things, the stuff that you bought, I mean, obviously it's going to stay there, and the stuff that got shipped is going to stay there as well. Is there still an ongoing need? I mean, I know we talked about all the things that had been donated. Are you guys still looking for specific things now that you're in country?
Yeah. So what's going on here is the areas as they push forces back. For instance, like where we were at yesterday, at the Antonov Airport, the fire station is destroyed and so is all the equipment. The other installation place we were at, you can see a burned up fire engine laying in the street. So yes, as they start pushing forces back, all those stations and cities that have lost equipment, it needs to be replaced. So one of the things we're looking at doing now is we've networked with a lot of areas that are gaining equipment and obtaining equipment. And with funds raised, we're looking at putting it on a shipping container, since we now have all the ground contacts with the Secretary of Emergency Services, the head fire chief here himself, and some of the top level chiefs that we know for a fact the equipment's going to get to where it needs to go and not sit in Poland somewhere in some truck or in some warehouse because nobody knows what to do with it.
Right. Or the other thing that is obviously concerning is, you send the equipment over there and it ends up going somewhere that it shouldn't, or not where it needs to be. So the fact that you guys have all the ministry contacts, that is fantastic. Rick,
that's really one of the main. Sorry, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I'll say one last thing. So while we've been working, we've had a command vehicle assigned to us, and they've also had, like, I would say, a light rescue assigned to us, which has some extrication equipment, tools. So they've given us a vehicle that sort of follows us everywhere we go. So again, it's been a joint partnership with our task force and Ukrainian Fire Services. And we have that because of the bond that we built prior to coming here, our contacts. So after meeting the Minister of Interior yesterday, he made it very clear that this mission is now paving the way for other people to come in. So they're going to start allowing other teams in, but they may not have that connection that we've had because of the channels that we've gone through, the networking that we've done, where they may not have a light rescue assigned to them or a chief officer assigned to them like we have.
Right, right.
And like
When
you
told me
mentioned,
that- go ahead.
like you mentioned, as far as sending equipment over here and it just sitting in a warehouse or it going to places it shouldn't, that's really one of the main reasons Project Joint Guardian was started. It's not just to gain donations and buy equipment to send equipment over here. It's to bring the equipment over, make sure it gets to the right people, and that they know how to use it, so that way it doesn't sit in the back of the firehouse, right?
Yeah.
And we have heard reports of other agencies that have shipped gear over, and they can't account for it. They don't know where it's at. They don't know where it went. So, and well, I'll use an example. One of the items we shipped over on the plane somehow came up missing, and nobody could account for it. Although we knew it landed, but it came up missing. So again, it's things like that now we know we're personally taking custody of it when it arrives, and we're ensuring that it gets here.
Luckily, our logistics found that equipment in a warehouse, and so it's headed to us. But yeah, it's that's one of the main reasons that we started this, so that we can bring the gear in and we know it's accounted for and that people know how to use it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And with as much stuff as you guys had donated, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. And so it's fantastic that you guys are taking ownership.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the amount of gear. So there's a big thank you we have to give out right now. So when we started planning this mission, we knew that we would not be able to fly commercially with some of this equipment. Part of the planning process, I reached out to FedEx and asked them, hey, what would it cost to fly 2,500 pounds of cargo? They said, well, and I told them what it was for, and they said, we'll give you a discounted rate, 50%. I'm like, okay, how much? $35,000 to ship 2,500 pounds of cargo. A company out of Santa Barbara, California called Direct Relief International, or DRI, not only donated the funds to fly 17 pallets of cargo over for free, they also fully funded this first mission.
Dude, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So reaching back out to FedEx to fly 17 pallets of cargo would have cost almost $500,000.
That's unbelievable. I mean, that just there's not a lot of times that I'm speechless. That's one of them, because I had no idea that it would cost that much.
When you want to ship stuff internationally on a cargo plane, it is not cheap.
Wow. So, and that was on a cargo plane that went from point A to point B, or did it have to transfer multiple times?
No, it actually landed in Frankfurt, Germany, and then they loaded it on a semi truck, and it's in route here. And we talked to the SES today on the phone just to confirm the exact delivery location, that it's going to meet us right here where we're staying, and we're gonna offload it in the parking lot.
That's insane. So do you guys have can you do track my package and look it up on your phone? Or
actually there actually was a link sent to us from DRI where we can actually track it where it's at.
That's pretty cool. That's actually, if they didn't have that, I would be curious if you could throw an Apple tag in the Connex box and just track it
that was actually on my thought process when we shipped this cargo, that if we couldn't follow it over, that I can literally put those little GPS trackers on it so I know where the cargo is at.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to get to this question real quick, and I apologize, I brought it up earlier, but you guys were on a roll, and I want to make sure that you guys have enough time to say what you want to say as well. So Rick George said, how are the Ukrainian people holding up? What's been your guys' experience with the locals?
Man, You know that unity you saw across the United States after 9/11, that everyone was together. That's what you're seeing here. You're seeing every citizen, every person helping sweep streets, feed each other. It is amazing the strong will of the Ukrainian people. Like they are working together and helping each other in every which way they can.
That's Greg. Have you seen anything like that? I mean, obviously you're there with Eric, so I mean you're seeing it, but have you seen anything that stands out to you?
I imagine that this is what the response that we're seeing in our area right now is what I imagine that you would see that Americans hope we would do after an attack like this, right? Yeah, they were hit, but they all came back and built defenses and rebuilt, and they're ready. You know, none of them are looking weak. You know, they're tired. By no doubt are they tired, but they are showing such strength that it's inspiring to me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And it's been amazing to watch not only what you guys are putting on social media, but also, you know, what we're seeing on, and again, whatever your flavor is, if it's CNN or Fox or MSNBC, but, you know, seeing the reports and seeing the videos that are coming out of normal everyday citizens doing things that they would obviously never be having to do unless this was happening. So have you guys on the rescue side seen a lot of people helping in that respect? Like if you need, you know, if you're trying to build up shoring, do you have somebody who walks up and says, hey, I'm a carpenter, do you need my help?
Well, when it comes to that, they're making sure the civilians stay out of that area. If it's at a work site, it is strictly emergency services personnel only.
Good. Yeah. And that was one of the biggest questions that had come up when we were discussing before was, you know, how are they separating, you know, civilian help versus, you know, like you look at Katrina, when Katrina happened, it kind of went apeshit there for a little bit where tons of people were flooding in. We had it when we had our tornado here in Kansas. We had a lot of citizens coming in doing things that they really shouldn't have been doing. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that you guys are able to kind of separate that out. So on the humanitarian side, I know you guys are doing a lot of the rescue stuff. Have you guys seen a lot of that humanitarian help that we're hearing about?
Well, so when we were in Poland waiting for our paperwork to clear, we were all getting a little bit antsy, right? And we had gotten word of a hostel in the area that was housing some Ukrainian families. And so we said, well, okay, you know, it's not fighting fires, it's not, you know, performing USAR or anything like that, but let's go over there and see what we can do. And so we went over there and we ended up finding some old, you know, derelict playground equipment in the next lot over. And so we spent the next day building a playground for these kids so that, you know, they would have something to do. And I think that really that's probably one of the things that has hit me the most on this trip emotionally. And I didn't expect it to, right? But that we were able to do something for those kids and the moms that were there while their husbands are back here in Ukraine fighting. You know, it gave them a little bit of something, and it just hit me a little deep. It's going to be really hard for me to complain about anything when I get back home. You know, I can have a bad day, but you know, I didn't have to flee my house because an invading force shelled it, and we have to leave.
Yeah, yeah, and that was there was, and I think it was Derek. Was Derek the one with the chainsaw?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Derek,
he's always the one with the chainsaw.
Yeah.
This whole mission, we've been the one with the chainsaw. He's actually very good with it. He's although he works in the Kansas area, he's ex U.S. Forest Service hell attack, so he's very good with the saw.
It was like, man, if anybody's going to get caught doing a post with a chainsaw, it would have to be him. But the picture, and I wish I had it, I could put it up there, but I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a picture of him with like a 5 or 6 year old kid. And I guess this kid was just like infatuated with you guys. And so he was like, hey man, come over here. You want to help me cut this tree down? And so that moment in time was just super, super cool. To see him do that. And when you brought up the whole thing about not being able to complain I got to throw this out there. And, when we were up in Nebraska for Easter, my 10-year-old Aiden, who goes to conferences with me, and he wants nothing more in life than to be a firefighter. We were sitting around and he kind of looked at me and he goes, Dad, I feel really lucky. And I said, well, why is that? And he goes, well, just think about all the kids that right now on Easter are over there and not being able to do what we're doing because he had heard me having a conversation with my wife about what you guys are doing. So, the fact that a 10-year-old can have that thought process that, he's fortunate enough to be here where he's safe and not having to worry about those things. So, that was the next question that came up was he was like, hey, Dad, when are you going to be able to help? Are you guys going to be able to do stuff? And that actually brings me to my next question, which Lauren just posted as well. She said, do you anticipate the need for more personnel or teams? If so, with heavy rescue skills only or general firefighting skills? So what's the layout right now as far as future needs?
So the way we plan out the teams is we try to have on each team 1 to 2 technical rescue qualified people. We're also going to try to find one person of Ukrainian descent that speaks Ukrainian on each team. And then at a minimum qualification, you have to have your firefighter 1, EMT, and just some basic rescue stuff. The purpose we lay it out that way is that gives us a wide spectrum of avenues of which we can do as a team. We have our tech rescue experts, we have our EMTs, we have basic firefighting skills, and we have a translator. So again, we tried to come here to be self-sufficient. That's the way we organized this team. We had our own translators, our own transportation, our own tech rescue experts. Right now on our team, we have 2 FEMA USAR, 2 people that are on FEMA USAR teams, one that's part of Australian's federal team and part of their international team, which is also one of our team leaders. We have 3 people that speak fluent Ukrainian. All are EMTs at a minimum, all have firefighter 1 and all their basic rescue stuff encompassed with it.
That's
and then
fantastic.
On top of that, I'm the hazmat person, so I also have the hazmat, WMD, and terrorism training.
Yeah, and all the EOD stuff is taken care of by the military, right? Like you guys aren't getting it. Okay, we'll leave that one alone.
We'll leave that one alone.
Listen, man, if you're going to defuse a bomb with a bottle of water and a multi-tool, I'm not gonna point fingers, right?
We had to discuss. They had a building that needed to be cleared that wasn't cleared, which was maintained and occupied by Russian forces. And us 3 military veterans were like, man, we know what to look for. So we actually went in and cleared it for them. So yeah, we should have, but we're like, yeah, we know what to look for. So we sort of went in and did it.
But that's okay. I gotta be honest. That is like 99% of, well, at least for my career, that's been like 99% of the time. And the guys that are sitting here at the table with me, they're all staring at me because they know I'm the guy that's like, we probably shouldn't do that. All right, I'll be right back. And
that's pretty much how it was. They're like, it hasn't been cleared yet. We're like, hey, we got 3 combat veterans here. We know what improvised explosive devices look like and how they're set up. So we did it. And after that, the team did talk to us like, hey guys, probably not a cool thing to do. We're like, okay, yeah, all right. We're firefighters. We're not there. So yeah, we talked about it after we did it. But yeah.
Is it bad that the only thing that's going through my head is after that, I can just imagine that one of you were like, yeah, but we didn't die, and it's going to make for a really cool story.
Not only we didn't die, makes a really cool story. We had the New York Times right behind us following us.
Oh, was that the day that you guys had the embedded reporter?
Yes. Yeah. So she's like, can we come? I'm like, yes, just step where we step and keep a distance behind us.
Dude, that those are the funny stories.
And it was funny because we were in there, and the reporters covered war. She's like, you guys really know what you're looking for. The way we're looking and slowly moving around things. She's like, you guys really know what you're looking for. Like, yeah, we're veterans. We've had to do this before.
Think that you were bullshitting her, or like what?
No, she even said like, I've covered war like in EOD team. She's like, you guys really knew what you were looking for in there. Like, I'm like, well, yeah, that's why we volunteered to do it. Probably wasn't the smartest thing, but we did it.
Wouldn't be like, yeah, whatever. We'll just look for tripwires.
Yes. And plus, we had a brief. We actually gave a briefing to the team that showed UXOs, what cluster munitions look like, pictures of some of the booby traps the Russians had been leaving behind, which I think a 5-year-old could have done. But yeah, so we knew, the team knew what to look for. An example was one of the rubble we were clearing. One of the firefighters looked down at his feet, and for a second, you would have thought it was a Russian-style grenade. So he didn't move. We told him not to move, and I got down and started looking and went, "Nah, you're good. Get up." He's like, "What?" He's like, "How do you know?" I just picked it up and went, "Here it is. It's not a grenade." So we had a little, in I would say, pucker factor on one of the buildings we were sifting through.
Yeah. No, that would be enough to have me have to go change. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
So how long are you guys planning on being there now? I mean, has that changed, or are you guys still on the same schedule that you were when you left?
It could change if they got more work that needs to be done. Like, I can extend up till, I believe, the 7th of next month is the latest I can stay. But it just depends on how much work needs to get done.
Yeah, Greg, what's your time frame? I mean, I know you kind of gave me that funny look when I said, "How long are you gonna be able to stay?" And you kind of looked behind you at the.
Is your wife
Yeah,
watching? That's a G14 classified.
right.
Currently, it's the same schedule, but I talked to her on the phone and I told her the exact same thing. You know, if there's jobs that we can do while we're here, we don't want to leave, right? You know, like we said in the first podcast, you know, we don't want to leave here and just be like, well, see you later. Hope you do okay. You know, we want to leave here with them being like, hey guys, there's not that much work left, you know, and we want to leave them in the best standing that we can. And so, you know, I if I can extend another week and keep busy the whole time, yeah, we'll stay.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
So
let's say, like you mentioned, saying we're already starting to line out a second team. Again, it just comes down to what's the workload and when their launch date's going to be. If there's a lot of work left and we leave, the second team, we already have enough funding for the second team. We'll launch the second team.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. So Joshua says, it's amazing what you guys are doing. God bless you. Which I can't second that enough. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize, for those of you that are watching and listening, the funding for this project and the funding for the trip is covering the flights, the meals, the things like that. But that's not covering your time off. It's not covering your salary. It's not covering any of that stuff. So, I mean, all the guys that I know personally, like you and Greg and Derek, that are going over there, I mean, you guys are taking vacation time. You guys are taking time off without pay, whatever you're needing to do to be able to do that, which is just amazing. And I can't thank you guys enough for being able to do that.
And luckily, like I will speak for my department, they were very good at trades, and then the shifts that didn't get covered were covered under union time bank. And a big thank you, our union, Local 1434, for stepping up for that. And I think once this mission got going, a lot of the departments started seeing the significance of this, because this literally, from what we know, is the first ever of its kind deployment of firefighters to deploy to a hostile zone to assist with search and rescue. It has not been done before by American firefighters or any firefighters that we know of that have done this. So it is definitely, I would say, a historic event for the fire service.
Yeah, no, and I wasn't surprised one bit. I know you weren't able to make the last podcast, but when I saw your post and I sent you a message within 5 minutes of you posting it, I wasn't surprised one bit when it was you setting this whole thing up. I mean, you definitely have that drive, and you're the crazy guy that would do all. I mean, when you sit there and think about, like, who would be dumb enough to sit there and eat like burning hot wings? Oh, Dave Mellon. Yeah, he'd be stupid enough to do that. Who would be dumb enough to go over to a war zone? Eric Hilly. That's who.
Yeah. I'll be honest, like, each team member, we purchased them ballistic protection. We have it. Luckily, we haven't had to put it on. I do know the first night we were here in an area in West Ukraine, we did hear the air raid sirens go off. But no, again, they're still used to it here. They're like, until they actually hear something overhead or hit the ground. They're just live their life now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
No,
so
and like you said, every team member helped get this in place, but without Eric, really having the guts to put himself out there and be like, hey, I want to do this, guys. Let's get a team together and do this. The rest of us really didn't have the courage to put ourselves out there. I think a lot of us were, afraid to fail or, afraid to look stupid in front of people. But Eric was like, no, I believe in this enough that we're going to do it. And so without him, none of it would have happened.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, it was tough because, I'm a full-time firefighter. I have 4 kids. I'm not married, and so I'm basically a single father with 4 kids, and trying to plan this. And towards the end, I started to struggle, like with work, kids, knowing the mission was going to happen. And, I started to drop the ball on a few things. I'm grateful for my team. They're all firefighters. So they gave me that good nut punch and, put me back in line. And so, yeah, it was tough. And there was a lot of hurdles to really make this mission go from a Facebook post to actually happening in a short amount of time as it did.
Yeah, it was quick. It was only like what, 3 or 4 weeks?
Yeah. And it was a matter of rubbing elbows with some of the right people at the right time that really just made this thing take off.
Yeah, it was a lot of hard work by all the team members, mixed with a little bit of luck. We had companies like ReadyWise Food. One email to them, and they shipped us a pallet of food to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. So to that point, I'm going to put up on the ticker down at the bottom. I'm going to put the fund the first. That's still active, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And that will continue to fund ongoing missions, covering the cost of loading up Connexes full of firefighting equipment. And then the ultimate goal of this project down the road is, when this war is over, to every 6 months for 2 weeks, send at least 7 firefighters from the United States over here to provide training.
That's fantastic. And that is, so when it's scrolling, you can take a picture of it on your phone, and then I'll put a link in the description as well for anybody watching. So I do have some very important questions that I want to make sure that I get to. The first one is, how is the food?
Actually, food's pretty darn good. I have to admit, I'm a very picky eater. If anyone knows me, I'm that guy in the station that, I stay in shape, but I survive off a box of Hostess cupcakes and junk food. The food here is amazing.
I have gained a few pounds. I'm not sure the wife's going to be real happy about it when I get home, but there are a lot of potatoes here.
And cabbage.
You'll
learn to like potatoes and cabbage.
Dude, Eastern Europe.
The food is great though. Like I haven't eaten this much in a long time, and it shows. I did miss in our group chat before we left. One of our guys that speaks Ukrainian, he told us, he goes, guys, if you like hot sauce, he goes, you need to bring some of your own. And I missed that completely, unfortunately, because we were in a gas station the other day, and I asked him, I said, hey, is there any hot sauce in this grocery store? And he goes, no, man, there's no hot sauce in Ukraine.
Yeah, there's no hot sauce in this country.
That's not a thing at all.
It's BYOB. Bring your own bottle.
Okay. Well, when I come over there,
yeah, I mean, the food has been absolutely great. Apparently, it's a traditional thing here that they make their own grape juice, which I had no idea happened, and it's served to us like with every dinner, and it's unbelievably good.
And if you like coffee grounds in your coffee, this is the place.
Okay, you got to explain that one.
So we order coffee here, and the coffee's amazing, but at the end you can literally shovel the coffee grounds out, and so don't just chug your coffee, as we found out the first day, because you're going to be spitting out a bunch of coffee grounds.
I wasn't paying attention this morning, and I had coffee grounds to come and brush my teeth out with.
So how would you rate that with like Cuban coffee?
I haven't had Cuban coffee,
no.
So I don't know.
Okay, well, when you guys come back, we're gonna have to have some Cuban coffee, and you guys can make me some Ukrainian stuff, and we'll compare.
Okay, so basically, we'll just make some coffee and dump about a spoonful of coffee grounds in it.
Okay, so the next question is, how's the alcohol?
Well, let's just say, I think this is the only country where you can buy a liter of vodka, and I mean a liter. And when one of these days, where's the camera here? When we get back, we'll send you the pictures of they bring vodka in like those big 1 gallon jugs in, and it's all homemade stuff that we've had a great batch of some great tasting stuff. And there's some stuff that was, I thought I was drinking paint thinner. But yeah, they're, and then today we were out and about, we actually found a location that had beer. And I think everyone there knew we were Americans because we almost cleared them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and a lot of
It,
people don't understand that Eastern Europe, I mean, Ukraine, Russia, I mean, vodka is a thing. Like it's a way of life.
And it's vodka. It's vodka with the W. It's not vodka, it's vodka.
Yeah, vodka.
it's a bit of a struggle when we're having drinks in a group, because every time somebody wants to make a toast, there's no I don't want to participate. So
yeah. Well, and that is, so it's funny because I told Greg this in the last podcast, but my grandfather and my grandmother are both from Latvia. And so when they immigrated to the US during the war, growing up, there was no W's. And so it was hilarious when you said that. It made me kind of chuckle because my grandfather, I never heard him say or a V. It was W. So vodka, whiskey. Yeah. No, that's hilarious. So, okay. So then the next question is, do they have fire poles?
Yes, they do. Every station we have, most of them are two-story stations. They do have poles. Their fire engines are very different than ours. Helmets, we don't even need to go there. We already know what they wear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we all had to take our picture in it.
They are doing everything they can to convince me out of my leather helmet. Trust me. They have thrown a lot of great things at me for my leather.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, but I mean, of all the stuff that you guys had donated, you had to have had some traditional helmets, right?
We had stuff we didn't get to see that showed up at DRI, so we may have some coming. Since it's predominantly California departments, it's probably going to be more of the Bob the Builder helmets, or AKA the LA City style.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cool if you like wearing Tupperware.
Right.
But yeah, they're doing everything to convince me to give up my leather.
Yep.
Yeah. No, and that's I don't know. We always joke around about being like triple layer slayers, and you guys could be like the next European helmet killers.
Yeah, the best place for Euro helmets is Europe. I'll just be, I embrace change, but there's a few things where I'm like, yeah, no, not happening.
I'd be willing to give one a try, but yeah, okay, I wouldn't just jump over.
I actually, so my deputy chief who's sitting right next to me, he's very, very big into the Euro style helmet.
What?
You are. Don't even deny it.
Does he want me to? I can bring him one home.
I feel.
Does he want one? Does he want one? We can bring him one home.
I bet he would love that. I bet he has one in his office, and don't even say you don't.
Oh, ouch. So I did see. I mean, they're great to hang on a wall, maybe put upside down with the base and full ice. If you actually look at the way they're designed, full of ice upside down, they actually will hold a 6-pack. So,
I mean, they're a perfect use for them.
Yeah. Or if you take out the liner and clean it, it'd make a good chip bowl at a party. Yeah, it's it's a big no for me on those. Yeah.
I get it. Okay, so the next question is, and I literally have a list that people had sent me of questions to ask. How is the sleeping arrangement? Like, are you guys, all in one big room? Are you guys all have individual rooms? Like, what's that whole thing working out like?
Well, there's 3 in our room. We're at a pretty nice hotel they put us in, and they put us here for safety reasons because it's well fortified. It's a very nice hotel. But yeah, it's usually 2 per room. We have 3 in my room. But I will give them applaud them for this. They did make very nice arrangements, and they made safety a priority due to the thickness of the walls here.
We were all planning on basically sleeping, on a firehouse floor in our sleeping bags, right? And so we all brought sleeping bags over, and none of us want to bring them back, right? I mean, it's just a bigger hassle. So the other day we stopped at one of the checkpoints and grabbed all of our sleeping bags and gave them to the armed forces there. They figured they're probably going to be able to use them a lot more than we are. So,
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So when you guys go outside, like obviously you're at the hotel, and when you guys go out, do you guys have to plan all your missions? Like, you know exactly where you're going, or is it, I mean, I don't want to say like a response, like we would traditionally think of a response. I mean, are you guys getting called out like, hey, this building collapsed, we need to go? Or is it more, hey, these are the areas that we're going to be in today, and this is what we're going to look at?
Well, actually, it's a combination of both. So starting tomorrow, since work is starting to lighten up a little bit in our area, we're going to go assist with some training, but we also have liaisons with us. And if there is a strike and a collapse, we will respond because we have a liaison that can escort us all the way in.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that was one of the questions that came up was, you know, are you guys kind of, I don't want to say you're not obviously in a fire station, but you're a resource, and so you're staged, and so if something happens, then you guys can respond, which is awesome.
And those two liaisons are in the same hotel we are. They're the ones that give us our briefs in the morning, where we're going to be working. So if they got a call tonight that, you know, those hits in the region, they can wake us up and we can go respond.
That's awesome. Okay, so we're coming up on an hour, so I want to get this last question out, and I'm going to ask each one of you. So I'll ask the question, then each one of you can give me the reply. So since you have been in country, the funniest thing that has happened to you so far that you can actually talk
about? Oh boy, because we've been joking around quite a bit. I think the funniest thing that's happened to me, I know the funniest thing I've seen, we all laugh at it. We can't say it on a podcast, but the Ukrainians are very vocal with graffiti and what they think of Russians and the artwork they put on the wall. That was, we actually stopped. We stopped the convoy just to take a picture of it because it's quite comical. The way the Ukrainians are expressing their feelings towards Russians, but it's the funniest thing that's happened to me so far.
I'll send you that picture after we get off.
The picture today in front of one of the statues where they picked me up and we sort of simulated in front of the statue of them holding me up. Yeah, that was probably pretty funny because I thought they were going to drop me too.
That's yeah. So how did you get hurt? Well, I got dropped while we were posing for a picture.
Yeah. Was it a rocket attack? No. We were trying to pose for a funny picture and they dropped me on my head.
Yeah. I'd be lying and say I dove from a grenade or something, but.
So Greg, what about you?
Yeah. The hard stop in the back of the van today.
Yeah, that was not enjoyable. So we've recently thrown a couple extra van seats in the back of the van that we use for personnel, and then we have just a flatbed cargo van that we use to transport all of our equipment and bunker gear and all that. And our driver is an engine operator back home, and he's pretty good with a manual, but yeah, I was getting thrown around on a loose seat pretty hard this morning. So,
dude, and that's, I mean, like I said, those are the funny things that you know, going there and being able to do the stuff that you guys are doing. We have to look at the funny side of things. You have to keep it lighthearted. I know. On a more serious note, the stuff that you guys have been dealing with, stuff that obviously nobody should ever have to see. But I'm glad that you guys are at least having some funny moments.
Yeah, I even said it today when they were rough riding us in the back. I said it was almost like that scene from Jackass, but in the back of the cargo truck with rollerblades on, just sort of getting tossed around. It was hilarious.
Yeah, so here's what I need you to do. I need you to go back to that hardware store in Ukraine and see if you can get a bunch of bouncy balls and put them in something and then ride on top of them and videotape it as you're driving down the street.
We have a cargo truck, so we can actually fill that thing up pretty high. You're just giving us ideas now.
I mean, I can't be there, so I might as well help with the debauchery, right?
We do have a good challenge going here. We've got quite a patch collection because we're walking up to Russian soldiers going, "Bro, that patch is cool. What do you want for it?" We've got so many patches that are so awesome now that you would not. It's like today we're walking through downtown Kyiv and we're just walking up to a soldier going, your patch is cool. What do you want for it? Come on, we want it. And they're just like, here you go. So yeah, we had
Really?
quite
And,
an
I mean, are you
extensive patch
trading with them?
collection. What? We're trading,
Are you
or
guys-
we're offering everything. Like I'm willing to give up. For if I can get me one of those EOD patches, this is up for grabs. But getting those EOD patches from the Ukrainian fire services is like it's like the holy grail if we can get one. They've all been like, no. Oh, actually, they're all yeah.
Yeah.
So
The EOD guys, they're a pretty serious bunch. So I ended up I had an extra multi-tool in my pocket that I traded to one of the soldiers at the checkpoint we stopped at and got a pretty cool patch off his hat. So
and one of our guys, when the Minister of Interior's visited us yesterday, got one of their like Secret Service patches. We're like, oh. We were all eyeing the patch on how cool it was, and one of our guys beat us to it. So,
I mean, listen. If you guys can have a fight over patches, I think that's probably. I don't know how that's going to fan out. I mean, just knowing who's there on that trip. Again,
I'm the smallest guy, so I'm going to lose that one. Don't suggest it.
I will say it is an interesting dynamic of personalities, but we're all working together.
No, that is super cool. So I will let you guys get back to your stuff. I know you guys have been, decompressing today. It was kind of your chill day. And it's late there. It's what time is it now? Like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock?
Got to be 9 o'clock.
Yeah. So 9 o'clock, have a couple drinks for us. I just want to say thank you again for allowing me to do this. This is the farthest distance podcast that I've ever done. So thanks for letting me do that. I'm glad you guys
from Ukraine. Nice.
Very nice. But no, I'm glad that you guys are safe. Hopefully we'll be able to do this again at some point before you guys come home, kind of get an update. But is there anything else you want to tell everybody here?
Valor Fire Training, I like. Number one podcast, all of Ukraine. Nice.
You know what? Actually, I didn't even think about that. I am probably the number one podcast in Ukraine right now. That's true.
Yep.
All right, you guys be safe. Take care, and I'll get a hold of you later.
All right, sounds good.
Day. All right, bye.